Indian? That's coming up on the program.
And we take you to a special report. Specially abled athletes shining in Bengaluru's wheelchair cricket tournament. It was organized at the Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Art of Living Centre in Bangalore. We'll take a look right here on the show.
After successfully chasing 111 runs, India now made the record for the highest chase ever at the venue and won the match against USA, making their way to the Super 8s. Now what will be interesting to see is how Pakistan and USA check in on those positions as well.
And a little bit of movie spice for you. Karthik Aaryan gets candid on his jaw-dropping transformation for the film Chandu Champion. He shares his success mantra. He also speaks about what it takes to be a high achiever.
All right then. Elon Musk says that he will lock all the iPhones in an electromagnetic cage at all his companies, and this after Apple announced the partnership with OpenAI. Apple had said that OpenAI's ChatGPT will be integrated with the Apple OS. Musk has called it a data security violation and shared a meme. It will just pop on your screen over there, and which is also from a Tamil movie. And that had a very interesting story to tell.
So that's where he'd initially said it. We'll share that tweet with you. But while Musk has launched his own AI, and you can see it over there, while he's launched his own AI, and he might be seeing this as not just a security risk, but also as competition, it still raises a very interesting question that we wanted to take a look at. The question before us is, on one hand, obviously, tech is breaking new records. It's making our lives much, much more simple when you're armed, especially with something like AI. But on the other hand, did you know that more and more people are now ditching their smartphones entirely?
And can you blame them really? As much as we love having the world at our fingertips, we've also learned about the downside. Studies and our own experiences have shown the impact on concentration, sleep, mental health, and people are starting to push back against these negatives now. The constant notifications, ting, ting, ting on your phone that we hear all the time, the endless interference, it is taking a toll. There is a reason why the generation born into the smartphones feels it even more.
Now, iPhone is turning 17 this year. The launch of this touchscreen marvel completely transformed our expectations of what a phone could even look like, what a smartphone could be. We now have a whole generation that's grown up without ever knowing a world without smartphones. So they don't know what different even felt like. Sure, you can install apps to limit screen time. So there are different ways to manage this. But some folks are saying that that's not enough. They're actually taking it a whole other step further.
They are opting for dumb phones. Basic devices that let you call, they let you text, set alarms without any constant updates on your phones. Parents are using it to keep their kids focused, and they're also very popular with seniors who want simplicity. Anybody who wants to not spend a fortune on smartphones is also opting for it.
And get this, it's becoming a trend among teenagers too. That's what we thought was really, really cool. Many are ditching their smartphones. These are sometimes people who've grown up with them. It's all they've ever seen. But they want to escape social media, and they're actually embracing a more minimalistic lifestyle. They're calling themselves new Luddites. And we have two such people right here on the show.
Yeah, they are young at heart, also very wise, but we'll get into that in just a bit. Let's introduce our guests. Joining us are two people who don't want their phones to be smart at all. Joining us here is Mangesh Patil. Hello, good morning, Mangesh. Also with us is Digvijay Bhandari. Let me come to Mangesh first. Mangesh, firstly, somebody who does not use a smartphone, does not even have WhatsApp, or does not used to have WhatsApp until very recently on his phone, and he is a journalist. So I want to know, Mangesh, firstly, how? How is it even possible in this profession?
It started around 2020, the December of 2020. As you said, I was totally addicted to my smartphone. WhatsApp, Instagram, in the night, keep on scrolling, keep on browsing. It started taking a toll on my health, my sleep. my well-being. So it started with one day. So I said, one day it's my week off, I'll not see my phone. So I kept it at my home and I was at home. So the other day I went to office, then normal, started reducing my usage bit by bit. So after few days, I stopped using it for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. It went on for say 1 week, 1 month, and then it went on for almost 4 years. Till
Wow.
recently as March 2024. I was not using WhatsApp, rarely on social media, that too on the desktop. If I'm in the office or at home, just to check what's up with it. And somehow I managed with it. Started setting my priorities step by step, bit by bit, and
Right.
it took me 4 years. But until recently, I was not on social media.
Wow.
Mangesh, tell us,
yeah.
you're a journalist, so, and we know this, both of us know this too. It means you're receiving notifications all the time about changing updates, breaking news stories
Yeah.
taking place at any moment. Don't you have a
Right.
sense of FOMO at all, that you might miss out on something very important?
I did it. It felt so, but somehow, when I'm in office, I usually log in on the desk. So I get the updates on the desk. And when I leave my office, I usually initially I tried keeping minimal contact, but after a long time, then it started being an habit. So I felt left out initially. My friends started teasing me and all, making fun of me कि यार कैसे कर लेता है WhatsApp पे तो पूरी दुनिया है. But step by step it happened. आदत हो गई. Started making fun, but that even in family, घर वाले बोलते यार कैसे कर लेता है. मतलब
पिक्चर का कमेंट नहीं किया तुमने मंगेश?
हाँ होता है तूने देखा क्या है, हमने ये शेयर किया है, बट आई एम लाइक अच्छा ओके देखा क्या शेयर किया है. आई एम लेट इन इट बट इट्स ओके, आई डिड इट समहाउ.
So, till very long ago, you were not even using a smartphone.
Yes.
Do you have the phone you were using?
Yes, I
You
have
sure?
this.
Wow, it's been a while I saw this phone. And for our viewers, some of them who have never seen a life even with this phone, that is what Mangesh used to use until very recently. But फिर बॉस ने कुछ बोला इस वजह से WhatsApp करना पड़ा. मंगेश क्या हुआ?
My boss for 4 years he was trying to convince me कि यार WhatsApp पे आ जा. WhatsApp पे तो अपना काम चलता है, अपना ग्रुप है. And I was like हाँ होता है ना, काम तो होते रहता है, मेल पे हो रहा है. I'm getting updates from my colleagues and all. But until recently as March I tried controlling myself, but then I said some things need to change. And the main reason is the UPI payments and all. Ki nowadays we are totally on UPI. India is the largest user of UPIs and all. So for that reason I changed to smartphone, but a basic smartphone, not too expensive one, just to make some payments and all, just to get some mails and WhatsApp. But that again, minimal use.
So, you know, this is quite fascinating because ours is a generation, the millennials, who went from this to this, and now there's a generation which is going back from the smartphone to the dumb phone, which is quite a incredible story. Mangesh, आप कैसे करते हैं हमें नहीं पता, but this is truly very inspiring indeed.
Mangesh, but
Started it day by day.
ये ज़रूर पूछना है, that phone that you now have, tell us, जो आप अभी मार्च से use कर रहे हैं, उस पे अब आप apps, you know, you said you just do payment, but have you thought about maybe going into an Instagram, a Facebook, a Twitter, because that's what's got us addicted.
I do it, but I do it installing and uninstalling. I install it for some time, say one day, or a few hours, and then again uninstall it.
So that's a lot of discipline you're practicing, huh?
Cut to people like us who go to our phones to do one thing, and but then because there's a notification, we've been transferred somewhere else and we don't know what's happening. But Mangesh, kudos to you for what you're doing. But Mangesh is not the only one. We have one more guest, Toya. You know, let's take a look and let's
Right.
chat up with him as well.
Right, so we have with us Digvijay Bhandari. He's been with us since listening to everything that Mangesh has said too. He's the director of BGJC Consulting. It's a boutique consulting firm. And he's a CA by profession. We want to give you all of this context because it's important here. He's again one of those who uses his phone for a very basic set of needs, but no social media on his phone at all. So let's just go over to him to understand what brought his story around. Digvijay, just tell us, firstly, why no social media? When did that decision come along?
I don't think there it we thought so much into the fact that we didn't want to have so much social media on our phones. It was just a very natural thing. It just came so naturally to us that we wanted to restrict access to our lives publicly. We wanted to share those moments with people that we felt we were comfortable with, and we felt that we have a good relationship or a bond, and we want to let them in. We just don't want to share it randomly with anyone and everyone, because there is no connect that we have with them. So why would we want to share any moment with someone who has no bearing in our life? um, Come to the point on today with social media, there is no limit on what people can or cannot do, and the extent or the effect that it has on people, and they're not aware of it. Young children, or even teens or adolescents, they are on social media wanting to one up another person without actually understanding the implication or the impact it has on them.
Right. Digvijay, everything that you're saying sounds very wise, and you say you just naturally, you and your wife got into this zone. But I really want to understand, for people who are not on social media, who are not on Instagram or any other social media platform, do you have a social life? Like, how do you answer your friends, or what do you do after you've been on a holiday?
Well, fortunately, we have a really big set of group of friends, and we don't feel any FOMO with missing out on events, occasions, or anything. We have a good and healthy group of friends, and we're very happy and blessed with them. And that's the whole point. uh, it is so difficult to keep up with the set of friends that you already have, right? Social media just adds on to that, and then the expectation that, okay, fine, why didn't you do this, or why didn't you like this, or why didn't you share this with me? It just adds on to that stress that you don't need.
So Digvijay, we're actually playing out for our audiences who are watching right now photos of your family. And the reason we're doing that is for the next question, which is tell us, when your daughter grows a little older and maybe she's at a point where she can demand that she wants to have social media, for example, because that's always the question, tab kya karenge?
I don't think we'll do much. We'll give her the option, and we'll leave the door open for conversations to make her understand as and when, if she thinks there is a need, to see, that this is what we've been doing, this is our experience, and you have to live your own experience and, take it up from there. We can't really force anything upon her, but we can always be there to have a conversation and to help her when she needs us to be there.
All right then, Digvijay, really giving us all parenting goals over there, but very hard ones. You've got to lead by example, and how does that happen in our job, Toya? How will we ever be able to do any of this? I really don't know. But to a lot of people watching right now, Mangesh and Digvijay clearly seem like an exception, not the norm. But that is what we thought as well. There seems to be now a growing market of people like Mangesh and like Digvijay, which is what Dhruv Bhutani, who joins us next, has been studying for a while. Hi Dhruv, welcome to TBC. Just wanted to understand firstly that, this entire market for back to feature phones, how is that really panning out? Are there more and more people demanding that, listen, we want the basics and nothing more?
Astonishingly, yes. I mean, by all measures, you would imagine that the world is moving towards smartphones. But this is turning out to be a growing market. It's growing around 4.5% in Asia, and also around 2.3% globally. So it's not just an Asia or an India specific move, it's a global move. Expected to sell around 2.8 million phones this year, which is a surprisingly large number,
Wow.
considering that you'd imagine that everybody's on a smartphone already. So the market is alive, and it seems to be in a growth phase, largely due to many of the points that you guys have discussed already. And I think there's also an element of just being jaded by the information overload. Not just social media, just the information overload of using a smartphone.
Dhruv, there is that aspect of our careers playing into this. We were just discussing how tricky it is as journalists to be away from phones. You're a techie. I just want to understand, how do you look at this? Is this something you would ever consider doing?
To a certain degree, I already do. It's not entirely possible for me to completely switch away from a smartphone, nor do I want to. I like my Spotify. But I mean, it's getting to a point where it's distracting. Notifications, for example, are being abused by a lot of. How many times a day do you get your spam messages from Zomato, from Swiggy, from Blinkit? And if you're constantly being bombarded by those notifications, it's very hard to focus and get work done. And so I'm making use of a lot of the tools built into modern phones, focus modes, modes which will basically cut off access to those notifications. The only apps that are, I mean, only a select few apps, like say WhatsApp and email, are allowed to send me notifications during work hours. And that's what I'm using to tame and sort of find a balance between a smartphone and a feature phone experience.
Right. Right, but Dhruv, also tell us, there are now these new brands that have come out in the market that are specifically offering feature phones or limited access phones. And how do you juxtapose it with, say, the big players? And also, on one end, what I'm trying to understand is, on one end, we are getting AI powered phones. On the other, we want to go back to the basics. So in this really wide spectrum of choices, where do you think it's really going?
Okay, I'll start with a personal feeling about this entire space that the more we move towards AI-powered phones, I see this phone market also growing alongside. There's a growing audience which does not want its data shared, which does not want to be hyper connected. And the result of that is already here. Phone companies like HMD, Nokia, they've been doing retro-themed phones, feature phones for the longest time, and now they're entirely playing to a very young audience, especially with their collaborations with fashion-forward brands, and they're making these feature phones appealing to this audience which does not want to be connected. In addition to that, there are also a few brands like Light. Now it's coming out with its third generation of smartphones, and it does only the basics. So you can do phone calls. It'll give you maps, notes, and a music player. That's it. There are no social media apps. You cannot install them at all. It's got a camera, a very basic camera, so you can take your photographs, and the entire screen is black and white. So that again is entirely tuned to make you cut off from using
Yeah.
your phone too much. And I mean, there are a few more examples as well. I believe there's a German company called Pumped, which is also doing something similar. Um, and all of that kind of signals that there is enough of an audience for a lot of small scale startups to put in the effort towards a digital detox phone of sorts.
Dhruv, can I ask you, because you're a tech journalist, one of the things you're also doing is talking to younger users. So can you tell us, the younger users that you're speaking to, in India in specific, because we've looked at this as a global phenomenon, we've spoken to two Indian examples. In the younger Indians that you're speaking to, those who are teenagers, for example, how much are you finding this need? What else are they saying is still needed in this space?
Uh, Again, like it's a vocal minority, which is observing the issues around social media burnout,
Right.
you know, keeping up with everybody, keeping up appearances, and of course, like just the constant bombardment of notifications. I don't think it's a widespread phenomenon just yet. That will take time, and of course, like everybody wants to be the next Instagram sensation. So that is going to take a while. But I am hearing this quite a lot, a lot. a lot more often than I used to. That this is something that users are trying to do, looking for, maybe not entirely switching towards feature phones. That is not a practical reality for everyone, especially like in India, as we're moving towards UPI payments and all of that. A select few feature phones
Yeah.
do offer that, but it's still a very compromised experience. Uh, but the more I talk to younger users, they are actively looking to cut down the smart aspect of their smartphone using these inbuilt features.
या लेट मी टेक दैट क्वेश्चन टू मंगेश एक्चुअली मंगेश तो अभी तो हमें ध्रुव बता रहे हैं कि ऐसे बहुत सारे ब्रांड्स आ गए हैं जो अब आपके स्मार्टफोन को मतलब आपके डम फोन को थोड़ा सा इंटेलिजेंट बना देंगे तो वुड यू कंसिडर बाइंग समथिंग लाइक दिस आपको लगता है कि इससे लोगों का बेनिफिट होगा सबके अंदर आपके जैसा विल पावर तो नहीं है
नहीं इट्स राइट कि होना तो चाहिए एवरीवन हैज टू टेक केयर ऑफ देमसेल्व्स अगर ऐसा कोई फ़ोन आए स्मार्टफोन सो आई विल डेफिनेटली ट्राई बिकॉज कंसिडरिंग यूपीआई पेमेंट्स एंड लिमिटेड सोशल मीडिया सो ऐसा तो एक बैलेंस होना चाहिए which we can do which everyone should do actually so there is a life outside social media so most people miss that that is the thing I'll do that.
Yeah. All right, so that's a quick reality check over there. Mangesh, Digvijay, Dhruv, thank you so much for joining us. And we also want to leave a little bit of a thought in our audience's mind. Now, what do you think about this entire move back to the feature phone and move back to the dumb phone phenomena? Is there something you could try? Please write to us with your feedback. We would love to hear from you. We did a bit of a social experiment yesterday to try and understand and asked people on social media to come back with their responses and I was stunned. I was really stunned at how many people still use their basic feature phone because they're saying we've just had enough.
That's so important to highlight. We'll now shift our focus from the usage of dumb phones to helping you use your smartphones maybe hassle-free. We're going to introduce you to someone who is helping develop revolutionary technology. This is the Indian origin researcher Ankur Gupta. His team at the University of Colorado Boulder has developed through a lot of research, they've developed and established a set of studies that they think can potentially be used to charge a dead laptop or a phone in 1 minute, even an electric car in just 10 minutes. So everything they've done, they think, can lead to technology like that.
Yes, the new technology is here and this tech has been the one which has been published in journals as well, Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, and of course we have Mr. Ankur here with us on the program to answer more questions on that. Good morning, Ankur. Thanks so much for joining us. First, want to understand what are super capacitors, if I'm saying that right, as of today, and how do they compare to your regular lithium-ion batteries as well?
So thanks for the invitation. I'm happy to chat about my work. So supercapacitors are energy storage devices. So much like batteries. So basically, they are devices that we can charge to store energy, and then we can use them in the discharge cycle to release energy for our devices. But unlike batteries, batteries rely on an electrochemical reaction. In simple words, basically one side is giving an electron and the other side is accepting an electron to store energy. Supercapacitors are like a charge sponge. So like we have sponges at home which absorb water, supercapacitor are like a charge sponge that they absorb charge. And that's how they store energy. So there is not necessarily a reaction involved in supercapacitors. And they have been around for a while, much like batteries. And they have different properties compared to batteries. So we have batteries in our laptops, in our phones, which typically take, somewhere from 30 minutes to several hours to charge for batteries. But in supercapacitors, the charging is much faster. Because they are more of a physical mechanism, that they are just storing charge through like a sponge mechanism.
So we're going to just break this down for our audiences because it is a very science-dense topic. Is it correct to tell our audiences that the potential of supercapacitors was known, but that it was thought of as possible but not yet practical? That's the way we saw it summarized in an article, the work that you've been doing. Your research has essentially found the missing link. Is that the correct way to put it?
Yeah, so I would say like that was probably a little bit taken out of context. So for sure, supercapacitors have been known for a while, and their promise has also been very well understood in the community. And definitely our group is not the first one to work on it. There have been many leading groups in the world that work on this topic. In specifically, supercapacitors are already available in market and are already deployed. To give you a context, they were built in Lamborghini Sian. I think that came out 4 to 5 years back. So in a vehicle where basically they can be very useful to recover energy when you're braking. So like I said, supercapacitors, their key property is their speed. And so basically whenever you're braking a car, you can recover that kinetic energy and store it in a supercapacitor. And because you brake within few seconds, you won't be able to store that in a battery. You better use a supercapacitor because they can charge faster.
All right, so just to understand, tech of all of this aside, just the implementation of this means that your phones, your cars, your laptops, it will take seconds, if not seconds, minutes for them to come to a full charge. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, excellent question. So to put it simply in what we have exactly done, I would say think of designing a city and designing roads in a city. So if there are thousands and thousands of roads in a city, what we have basically contributed in our manuscript is how do you place the roads, where do you place the intersections, what are the rules of the intersections, and those are obviously very critical if you're trying to think of designing a city. So what we're trying to basically argue in our manuscript is how to design ionic cities. So these are basically cities of ions where ions are flowing and going around and storing energy. So that's what we have proposed in our manuscript. But obviously this is still a model, and I would say one that we did rigorously test through our simulations, but needs to be have more rigorous checking. So just like when we design cities and we have a new idea, we would want to test it out at a smaller scale. So next step is essentially using our model and trying to actually validate it using real experiments, seeing can we use our model to improve the performance of supercapacitors systematically.
Can you just tell us a little bit more about the developing process? Tell us about what a day researching at the University of Colorado Boulder with your team actually looks like.
Yes, absolutely. So I first started this idea back in 2019, which is crazy to think it was 5 years back. So before the pandemic. So I remember thinking about this problem. So I'm a chemical engineer by training. And I'm not particularly, I wasn't in the supercapacitors community back in 2019. And I was a postdoctoral fellow back then. Now I'm an assistant professor. So it was basically this big idea that can we think about designing, these networks and so on, and really optimize ionic transport. And much like any research, it is a slow process. So we broke the problem down into smaller steps. And then, for instance, if you're designing a city, how do you design a single road before you go and design thousands and thousands of roads or hundreds of thousands of roads? How do you design a single road? And so that was our first few contributions, were most focused on a much simpler problem.
All right. Also tell us, beyond just the potential speed of charging, are there other advantages as well to this tech? And could you, for example, hold over lithium batteries, especially in the Indian, Asian infrastructural context?
Yes, absolutely. So supercapacitors are, and obviously some literature disagrees, but I would say generally it's accepted that they can store much more cycles. In batteries, there are generally, thousands to a lakh or so of cycles. But then in supercapacitors, you can go much longer, and you can go 10 to 100 times more cycles. So that's an advantage of supercapacitors. In some cases, they're also safer. So to give you context, because they have this high speed of charging and they can give this burst of energy, my understanding is that in Airbus A380, they are deployed for emergency exit doors. So if something is going on in an airplane, it would be likely safer. And as you know, if we are asked to take out, battery packs because of safety concerns. So in general, in some cases, they might be safer also compared to batteries. But in particularly Asian context, I think they do hold a lot of promise because of this idea of high power density or more energy per unit time, because again, short charging time.
Ankur, thank you so much for so patiently breaking that down for both of us too, and just really explaining the nuances of what you've just, what not just you, your entire team has actually researched and created. Thank you for joining us here on the show. All right, so we've had a very science, very tech-heavy start to our morning. We hope you feel energized. Let's head into a quick break, and on the other side, we're actually bringing you the nation's favorite sport played by a particularly inspiring set of athletes. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Responsibility of youth?
Definitely, it does worry me because there are a lot of things that we have to be as representatives of the people careful about. But it does not, I almost think about it all the time, but it does not bother me as such because I'm truly passionate about my political career, and I come from a political family, and I've seen, the only thing that I always keep telling people, the most important thing that I learned from my father was, the world always shows you the good side, but it's only your family that shows you the bad side. So my father has always taught me how to deal with the bad times in politics and how to graciously welcome whatever decision comes from the people, whatever mandate comes from the people. You will have good times, but you will have bad times as well. But I think, whatever challenge may come, I will be able to overcome that challenge with my determination and hard work. And I also feel that with time you get the hang of politics. With time you understand that okay, politics is the only profession that is led by perception, and I think I'll be able to manage my emotions because I'm young. So I think I'll be able to manage my emotions well, and being in politics is definitely a blessing, but I understand that with politics there may come times when it will not be the best of times, but I'm aware of that, and I'm ready to take whatever challenges may come.
Shambhavi, you're really not speaking like someone who's new to this. You're speaking with the experience, the maturity of someone who's decades older. It's so lovely. It's in fact so rare to hear someone speak with this kind of wisdom, especially at 25, but even frankly from those who are older. So it was so lovely to speak to you. Thank you for joining us here on The Breakfast Club.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I really hope that whatever expectations the people of this country have from me, I can deliver to that. Thank you. First of all, thank you to the entire team for having me. Thank you, Sonal, for inviting me, and I'm really, like you told me earlier, you've never invited a politician over for this show, so I take this humble opportunity in thanking the entire team for considering me. How I am celebrating this victory, honestly, everybody is asking me, how are you feeling, what is the feeling like now that you're finally a parliamentarian, and I only have one reply, that I still haven't found the time to consume the entire process properly. There's so much been going on, and I'm constantly meeting new people, connecting to new people. Although this part I'm thoroughly enjoying, but I still haven't found the time to have any kind of celebrations as of yet.
All right, but Shambhavi, tell us this. How does a 25-year-old girl like you who went to LSR, went abroad and did her studies, come back to being a politician? How did that come along?
So basically, I'm a third generation politician from my family. I've always, I grew up in that environment since childhood. I've seen my father and grandfather serve people, and it has had a very positive impact on my mind. Young people in politics, I think when I see politics, I see myself as a catalyst of change. Now that I'm a representative.
Welcome back. You're watching The Breakfast Club, and as we usually do, let's take you now to stories from across the country and the globe. So we'll take you first to Denmark, that's recalled several spicy ramen noodle products. These are all by the South Korean company Samyang. They're claiming that levels of certain chemicals in them could be poisonous for consumers. The Danish Food Agency issued the recall and warning, urging consumers to abandon the product. Now, Denmark's Veterinary and Food Administration assesses the levels of a particular set of chemicals in a single packet to be so high. They thought it was so high that it could pose a risk for consumers actually ending up developing acute poisoning.
New research reveals that African elephants are now calling each other by unique names, a rare behavior amongst the wild animals. These individual names, part of their low rumbles heard over long distances, reflect their complex social structure. Scientists use machine learning to identify these names from the elephant vocalizations recorded in Kenya's Samburu and Amboseli parks, highlighting the advanced communication skills of these remarkable creatures.
And an invasive species of mosquitoes has been found in 13 European Union countries, leading to a rise in dengue fever. The European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control is warning that climate change is creating favorable conditions for the spread of these tiger mosquitoes. Now, authorities are monitoring and trapping the insects in. People have been advised to remove stagnant water and use repellent and mosquito nets to reduce the risk of more European outbreaks.
Social media platform X has introduced private likes, hiding users by default. Users will not be able to see who liked someone else's post, emphasizing the importance of allowing users to like posts without the fear of judgment. The likes tab on the user profile will be removed, but users can still see who liked their own posts.
And according to a new study, younger generations are starting menstruation earlier and taking longer to achieve regular cycles. Now, this could signal future health problems. The study analyzed data from over 70,000 participants in the Apple Women's Health Study. It found that with each passing generation, the average age of starting menstrual periods has gotten lower and lower.
The next is an interesting story, from male drivers in wigs to performers being painted in different skin tones. Female stunt drivers are saying that they need better representation, and that should be the need of the hour in the industry. Here's a report for more.
All right, ladies, let's go.
These stunt performers say Hollywood has a problem with representation.
When I came out of a not so great production meeting about a commercial, when the producer said, "Oh, I didn't know there were female drivers, we just put a guy in a wig."
Oh yeah, there's way more males in the stunts than females.
There's not just one white guy who can double everybody.
And after years of being looked over for top roles, they're banding together to fix it. Meet the Association of Women Drivers, or AWD. The first ever stunt group for professional female drivers. AWD was founded by Olivia Summers, whose credits over her nearly 20-year career include Bridesmaids and The Flight Attendant. Aside from male stunt drivers being cast to double for female actors, she said there is also an issue with paint downs.
A paint down is when they paint the stunt performer black or brown to double the actor that just may be African American or brown.
The Screen Actors Guild, which represents Hollywood's stunt performers, told Reuters there are guidelines on paint downs. They added that 1/4 of their performers identify as female. The Guild has rules stating productions must fill female roles with female stunt performers. But Summers said some stunt coordinators bypass it by saying they've exhausted all means to find a suitable performer.
We all train, we all take the time to perfect our craft, so use everybody.
For stunt driver Ashley Tave, more diverse representation means a better outcome for everyone involved.
It also makes the actors more comfortable when they know that there's somebody looking like them who can do the job, instead of, oh, this is going to be unrealistic because they have a white guy doubling me, so the audience isn't going to believe that a black girl can drive.
She says she uses that frustration to motivate her.
I can't always blame it on, hey, they didn't know about me, because there's so many people in this industry, but it just motivates you to work harder, train more, and get your name out there.
All right then, so to all those who say women can't drive, you need to watch that report. But talking about developments there are developments happening in the world of World Cup. They continue to roll in, and we take you now to particularly inspiring players of India's favourite sport. Now, there are roughly 2,000 wheelchair cricketers spread across the country today. But how does the sport work? And how do these athletes actually think they need to grow? Here is a report by Akshara.
While the world is enraptured by the T20 World Cup, in Bengaluru, specially able cricketers are playing a keen match of their own. Wheelchair cricket has been a growing sport to watch in the country for more than a decade now. But there are still basic issues that dog the sport.
We lack of support, lack of awareness about wheelchair cricket. See, if normal player cricket means many people watching, but wheelchair cricket not aware of some people.
The wheelchair cricket in India, since its inception, has come a long way with the help of social workers, NGOs and civil society organizations as well, with many matches being conducted in order to promote this game. And many civil societies, NGOs and other organizations are also putting in efforts to ensure that the wheelchair cricket in India gets its necessary attention and the emphasis as well. Now it lacks funding. The main funding for this wheelchair cricket in India that is played by many is still from private organizations. So to ensure that it gets the necessary attention, awareness and promotion as well, many private organizations have come forward, and one such event is being held at Sri Ravi Shankar Guruji's The Art of Living Center in Bengaluru. And right behind me, as you can see, the wheelchair cricket is being played at this ground of Vidya Mandir School, and as you can see, the players are already at it.
To understand just how much these athletes were pushing themselves, we spoke to Dr. Amaya.
It is very challenging. Just for example, if you see the breathing pattern, okay, if you have I'll give you a specific case. One of the athletes here, almost 3-4 patients are here. So if he has breathing difficulty from chest below, a little physical activity, little exertion, you and me walk a few steps who are untrained, we start panting. They don't have place for that much lung expansion happening. When you come and on ground and see what's happening, how the athletes and how the para-athletes, they define the norms and play the game, that's quite inspirational.
The tournament, organized by Pari Sharma Divyang Sports Academy, brings together 60 specially abled sportsmen and women from across the region.
The whole purpose of doing this sport is because I have been through this journey. I have been an athlete. Back then when I started playing sports in 2003, we didn't have much of awareness about para sports. And the beauty about this sport that Pari Sharma Divyang Sports Academy is doing is, we are trying to bring in the rural parts of the athletes. The reason being, we want to empower them.
As India's national wheelchair cricket team continues to break barriers, we also asked Satya Narayanan, who is the chairman of the Paralympic Committee of India, about the challenges that remain for growth in the space beyond just finances.
Part in the funding. One is there is a very important at present. India is the finding of the talent, not only cricket, even other sports. Now social responsibility, even corporate, lot of government organization, the big support is there. This time, Indian Oil is a supported very big way for Paralympics.
As the sport continues to grow, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar had some powerful words for the athletes.
Guruji sitting and telling everybody be strong is one thing, but you telling them be strong and you can do it makes a very big difference.
Bureau Report, CNN News 18.
Okay, let's take you right now from this to updates coming in from the world of movies. Kartik Aaryan tells us all about his jaw-dropping transformation for the film Chandu Champion. He's also shared with us some of what he says are the secrets or his own mantras and tells us a little bit like what it's like to have made these achievements at this age. Take a look. This is an entire interview.
Kartik, last time when I met you,
Yeah.
you were all lean, slim, chocolatey boy with long hair. This time I'm looking at a very buffed man, ladies and gentlemen. 18 months ka transition
जी.
period,
जी
excessive workout,
Yeah.
tight schedule. How has it been?
very difficult I think.
Of course.
Very tough. The kind of routine that I was in and the kind of regime that I was following was next to something which I felt was impossible before, but now I'm used to it. I really enjoy it, and the diet, be it the diet or the gym routine or swimming skill set like boxing, all these things I learned or trained for the film, but it's become a part of my lifestyle now. छोटी छोटी चीज़ें आई थिंक शिखरेव जो हमारे डायलेक्ट कोच थे वहाँ पे, उन्होंने बहुत चीज़ों में हेल्प किया बिकॉज उसमें क्या था कि मेरे लिए वो बहुत ज़्यादा डिफिकल्ट हो रहा था. मुझे आदत है हिंदी में मैं सोचता भी हिंदी में हूँ, तो मेरा एकदम वो प्रॉपर सेंटेंसेस बनते हैं. तो अभी मैं जब हिंदी मतलब अब मैंने क्या किया कि मैं इससे पहले फ्रेडी कर रहा था उसके बाद मैं सत्य प्रेम की कथा जिसमें गुजराती बॉय प्ले कर रहा, यहाँ पे मैं मराठी डायलेक्ट में, तो मेरा हिंदी अब गड़बड़ होने लगा है क्योंकि सब मिक्स हो रहा है और सब में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट डायलेक्ट्स में कर रहा था फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम इन माय लाइफ. तो इसमें स्पेशली वर्ड्स अब मैं जनरली भी कुछ बात कर रहा होता तो मैं हिंदी में मैं वापस रिपीट करता हूँ अपने मन में मैंने कुछ गलत बोला है और फिर मुझे सही वाला भी शायद नहीं मिल रहा होता है क्योंकि मैं इतना ये 2 साल से ऐसे बात कर रहा था. पूरी तरह से मराठी में मैंने बात नहीं किया इसमें, लेकिन जो डायलेक्ट है उसमें इतने सेंटेंसेस कई बार वो वर्ड्स जम्बल हो जाते हैं. तो चैंपियन है मैं चैंपियन हूँ आदमी बोलेगा हिंदी में, बट यहाँ पे वो एक तरीके से बोलता है, तो वो पूरा मेरा सोचने का तरीका ना बहुत जम्बल्ड है अभी. आई थिंक आई विल नेवर बी कंटेंट. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हमेशा आपका जो सक्सेस है या जो भी आपने अचीव किया है वो सब बहुत रिलेटिव होता रहता है. मैं आज सोचता हूँ कि मैं ग्वालियर से आया था तो मैं थोड़ी देर के लिए 2 मिनट के लिए मुझे लगेगा कि हाँ यार मैं मुंबई तक पहुँचा, मैंने अपनी पहली फिल्म कर ली, ये कर लिया वो कर लिया और यहाँ तक आ गया हूँ. पर फिर थोड़ी देर बाद मैं सोचूंगा कि अभी मुझे इसके बाद ये भी अचीव करना है, वो भी अचीव करना है, तो मुझे लगा अरे अभी तो मैंने कुछ भी अचीव नहीं किया है, मुझे यहाँ तक पहुँचना है. तो वो गोल्स हर बार हर फिल्म के साथ हर मोमेंट के साथ वो चेंज होते रहते हैं. एंड आई थिंक वही उसका मज़ा भी है उसमें. आई रियली फील कि मैं जिस दिन ये सेटिस्फाई हो जाऊँगा मेरे से काम ही नहीं होगा. तो मैं शायद से वो जिटरीनेस मेरे अंदर है, मैं एंशियस रहता हूँ, थोड़ा सा नर्वस रहता हूँ, एक्साइटेड रहता हूँ. ये सारे जो मिक्सचर इसीलिए क्योंकि मैं चाहता हूँ कि अच्छा अगला मुझे फ्यूचर नहीं पता है कि अच्छा ये चीज़ का रिजल्ट क्या आने वाला है. वो हर बार एक एग्ज़ाम दे रहा हूँ और मैं चाह रहा हूँ कि मेरे एग्ज़ाम बढ़ते रहें और मैं उसमें और बेटर करता रहूँ स्कोर. सो इट्स अ रेस जिसकी कोई फिनिश लाइन नहीं है. वो अगर वो फिनिश लाइन होती तो वो आई थिंक वो कब का शायद पैकअप हो गया होता मेरा. एंड टू फॉर ऑल द आउटसाइडर्स जो एक्चुअली में मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैं बहुत ऐसे लोगों से मिलता भी हूँ, क्योंकि वो लोग रिलेट भी कर पाते हैं। कई बार कोई इवेंट्स पे मिलते हैं, कई बार कोई फ़ैन कहीं पे किसी को एक्टर बनना है, किसी को कुछ और भी बनना है लाइफ में। मुझे एक्चुअली लगता है कि मैं सिर्फ एक ही चीज़ उनको बोलता रहता हूँ कि दे शुड नॉट, मतलब सेल्फ डाउट एक बहुत हमारे अंदर कई बार आता है, वो आई थिंक हटाना बहुत मुश्किल काम होता है, लेकिन वो ज़रूरी है कि उस चीज़ को आप अपने हार्डवर्क से पूरी तरह से हटा सकते हो।
Okay, and let's take you from this now to an update about India's performance in the T20. The T20 World Cup 2024 is on. India's qualified for the next round, the Super 8s. India was a bit jittery against the highly pumped US, but eventually it did emerge victorious at the makeshift Nassau County International. This is the Nassau County International Cricket Stadium in New York. After successfully chasing 111 runs, India have now made the record of the highest chase ever at this very venue.
And now with India's win, Group A has become very interesting because all eyes are now on Pakistan and USA to check who will join India in the Super 8s. Here's a report.
Team India has become the first team from Group A to qualify for the Super 8s at the T20 World Cup 2024. They managed a 7-wicket victory over the United States of America and have finished the New York leg with a win. Now the momentum will shift to Florida, where India will face Canada in their final group stage match. And after that, the momentum will go to the West Indies, where Team India will play Super 8 matches. But if we talk about the match against United States of America, then India won the toss and they opted to bowl first. USA managed just 110 runs on the board, and if you're thinking that it was an easy chase for India because they won the match by 7 wickets, then let me tell you, it wasn't. Team India faced 2 big blows at the very start of their innings. Saurabh Netrawalkar, full-time coder and part-time cricketer, took wickets off Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, the 2 big Indian cricketers. He dismissed the Indian openers cheaply. Virat Kohli, a golden duck. Rohit Sharma, just 3 runs. Now, if we talk about all the matches in this T20 World Cup so far, then Virat Kohli has managed just 5 runs. It's a worrisome sign. But if we talk about just this match, then against the United States of America, Rishabh Pant and Suryakumar Yadav came in after Kohli and Rohit. They tried to stitch a good partnership, but Ali Khan bowled Rishabh Pant for just 18 runs. Then came in Shivam Dube. Dube and Sky went into a shell. They batted so slowly that there was this one point where it felt that Indian batters might struggle in chasing 111 runs as well. But eventually Shivam Dube found his form. He went for some good shots. Suryakumar Yadav took his time. At the end, he also went for boundaries, and then both the batters led Team India to that victory line. But the actual match winner was Arshdeep Singh. What a bowler! He bowled extremely well. In his 4 overs, he gave away just 9 runs and took 4 wickets. Arshdeep Singh was very economical, and if we talk about US batters, then the first 2 batters were out of the ground in the very first over itself. Arshdeep Singh became the first Indian bowler to dismiss a batter on the very first ball of the innings in the tournament history. He took another wicket in his first over, and then USA were under pressure. India kept a tight lid and they gave away just 18 runs in the power play. After that, USA's Nitish Kumar came in. He made some good runs and helped US to go past that 100 mark. But on the other side, there weren't enough batters to help him and go to a good score. And that's why they managed just 110 runs on the board. Now, India have qualified for the Super 8 stage, which means there is only one spot left in the Super 8 stage to have a team from Group A. Now, it can be either United States of America or Pakistan. After this loss, USA's net run rate has gone down below Pakistan's. And what will happen next? Only time will tell, because Pakistan are also eyeing that one spot in the Super 8 stage. Either it can be USA or Pakistan. Their matches will decide now. USA really need a win, and their win would ensure their spot in the Super 8. On the other side, Pakistan are also looking for a win. But as of now, Indian fans can enjoy because you'll get to see your team in Florida and then in the West Indies as they are a part of Super 8 now.
Okay, next we bring you to a special section on financial markets powered by Money Control Pro, Money Control's premium destination for investing and business insights. GIFT Nifty trends are showing a positive opening for Indian stock indices. US indices climbed despite the Federal Reserve leaving rates unchanged with hawkish commentary. Asian shares mixed as investors weigh the prospect of only one Fed rate cut as indicated by the dot plot. Now, gold, crude oil prices eased. This is all post the Fed's latest rate action.
Let's look at sectors next now. The US Federal Reserve is showing remarkable restraint on the policy rate cut cycle. Now, while further progress on inflation is warranted, demand environment is relatively steady. With such signals, how should Indian investors really position for export-oriented sectors? Well, log into Money Control Pro to find out more about India's export-focused sectors and other actionable insights. It is the premier destination for all the investing views and financial insights you will ever need, brought to you by Money Control.
Okay, and with that, we are bringing our show to a close. It's been a tech-heavy show, and we hope you look at your phone a little differently now.
Let us know how many apps you have, how many hours you're spending, and send us all your feedback. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Brought to you by...
All right then. Elon Musk says that he will lock all the iPhones in an electromagnetic cage at all his companies, and this after Apple announced the partnership with OpenAI. Apple had said that OpenAI's ChatGPT will be integrated with the Apple OS. Musk has called it a data security violation and shared a meme. It will just pop on your screen over there, and which is also from a Tamil movie. And that had a very interesting story to tell.
So that's where he'd initially said it. We'll share that tweet with you. But while Musk has launched his own AI and you can see it over there, while he's launched his own AI and he might be seeing this as not just a security risk but also as competition, it still raises a very interesting question that we wanted to take a look at. The question before us is, on one hand, obviously tech is breaking new records. It's making our lives much, much more simple when you're armed, especially with something like AI. But on the other hand, did you know that more and more people are now ditching their smartphones entirely?
And can you blame them really? As much as we love having the world at our fingertips, we've also learned about the downside. Studies and our own experiences have shown the impact on concentration, sleep, mental health, and people are starting to push back against these negatives now. The constant notifications, ting, ting, ting on your phone that we hear all the time, the endless interference, it is taking a toll. There is a reason why the generation born into the smartphones feels it even more.
Now, iPhone is turning 17 this year. The launch of this touchscreen marvel completely transformed our expectations of what a phone could even look like, what a smartphone could be. We now have a whole generation that's grown up without ever knowing a world without smartphones. So they don't know what different even felt like. Sure, you can install apps to limit screen time. So there are different ways to manage this. But some folks are saying that that's not enough. They're actually taking it a whole other step further.
They are opting for dumb phones. Basic devices that let you call, they let you text, set alarms without any constant updates on your phones. Parents are using it to keep their kids focused, and they're also very popular with seniors who want simplicity. Anybody who wants to not spend a fortune on smartphones is also opting for it.
And get this, it's becoming a trend among teenagers too. That's what we thought was really, really cool. Many are ditching their smartphones. These are sometimes people who've grown up with them. It's all they've ever seen. But they want to escape social media and they're actually embracing a more minimalistic lifestyle. They're calling themselves new Luddites. And we have two such people right here on the